Once celebrated for their charisma and talent, these male stars became cautionary tales of fame's heavy toll. Mickey Rourke, once Hollywood's rugged leading man, now stuns fans with a face reshaped by years of boxing injuries and controversial surgeries. Matthew Perry, forever Chandler Bing, left behind a tragic legacy after his shocking overdose, with his castmates honoring him through addiction recovery. Simon Cowell, the music mogul, continues to spark debate as his ever-changing face reveals the extremes of cosmetic reinvention. And Igor Bogdanoff became infamous for radical procedures that left them nearly unrecognizable. Mickey Rourke's face, from leading man to cautionary tale. Mickey Rourke, once hailed as one of Hollywood's most strikingly rugged leading men, has become a cautionary tale in the annals of cosmetic excess. In the 1980s, Rourke captivated audiences with roles in 9½ Weeks, Angel Heart, and Barfly, showcasing both acting prowess and smoldering intensity that made him a bona fide sex symbol. But behind the scenes, his growing disillusionment with the industry led him to professional boxing in the 1990s, a move that would leave more than just emotional scars. After suffering several facial injuries in the ring, Rourke underwent numerous reconstructive surgeries, some of which he later admitted were poorly done. In a 2009 interview, he told the Daily Mail, "Most of it was to mend the mess of my face because of boxing, but I went to the wrong guy to put my face back together." The result? His once iconic features became almost unrecognizable after a series of operations. Despite public criticism, Rourke has remained candid about his choices, an unusual but oddly admirable trait in an industry that often hides its nips and tucks behind closed doors. By 2025, Rourke's appearance continues to spark debate. While fans remember the sensual danger he brought to early roles, his current look stands in stark contrast, a physical manifestation of a career filled with rebellion, reinvention, and regret. He still acts, often in indie films or roles leaning into his altered appearance, proving that while fame fades, character, however reconstructed, remains. Simon Cowell's changing face stole the spotlight again. Simon Cowell's face has become almost as famous as his brutally honest one-liners, and recently it's made headlines for different reasons. The mastermind behind American Idol and X Factor gradually morphed into an example of cosmetic overkill. Once known for his perpetually unbothered smirk and trademark black t-shirts, fans first took notice around 2019 when his face began appearing unnaturally smooth and almost cartoonish on red carpets. Rumors of excessive Botox, fillers, and even a possible facelift exploded across tabloids and Twitter. By 2022, even Cowell seemed to agree that it had gone too far. In a refreshingly honest moment, he admitted on air and in interviews with The Sun and Glamour UK that he had overdone it with the injectables and had most of it dissolved. His words, "There was a stage where I might have gone a bit too far. I saw a picture of myself from before and didn't recognize it." The rare candor endeared him to fans and also reignited the public's fascination with his evolving appearance. Now, in 2025, Cowell's face is noticeably more natural, though not untouched. He still appears tighter than the average 65-year-old, but his expressions are no longer frozen, and his jawline has returned to something more human than a wax figure. He's even joked about it on Britain's Got Talent, turning his former overcorrection into part of his brand. Simon Cowell, in the ever-critical world of entertainment, demonstrates that even harsh judges can sometimes overcorrect and find amusement in it. Matthew Perry's troubled past shows on his face. Matthew Perry's face was once synonymous with effortless charm and razor-sharp wit. In the 1990s, as Chandler Bing on Friends from 1994 to 2004, Perry's boyish grin, expressive eyes, and quick-fire sarcasm made him one of the most recognizable and beloved actors on television. At the height of the show's success, Friends was drawing over 20 million viewers per episode, and Perry's clean-cut, youthful look helped define the sitcom era. But behind that smile, a far more complicated story was unfolding, one that would visibly mark him over time. By the early 2000s, Perry's appearance began to fluctuate noticeably. Weight loss, facial gauntness, and periods of bloating were not random. They closely aligned with his long, well-documented struggles with addiction to prescription opioids, alcohol, and other substances. Perry was unusually open about this in his later years, admitting in interviews with People and the New York Times that he went through multiple stints in rehab and endured serious medical emergencies, including a near-fatal colon rupture in the year 2000 that left him hospitalized for months. Those experiences didn't just impact his health, they permanently changed his face. In his 2022 memoir, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing, Perry reflected candidly on how addiction aged him prematurely. Comparing photos from different seasons of Friends, fans could see the toll clearly: sunken cheeks, strained eyes, and a fragility that contrasted sharply with his early season glow. By the late 2010s, even during sober periods, his face carried the imprint of years of physical stress and recovery. Matthew Perry died in October 2023 at the age of 54, a fact confirmed by the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner. As of 2025, his legacy endures, not just as a sitcom legend, but as one of Hollywood's most honest voices about addiction. His face, especially in later years, told a story he never tried to hide. Fame didn't protect him, but honesty eventually defined him. Wayne Newton's shocking face transformation. Wayne Newton didn't just become Mr. Las Vegas because of his velvet voice and suite of chart-topping hits like Donkashane and Red Roses for a Blue Lady. He became an enduring pop culture figure whose image has sparked public fascination for decades. Born in 1942 and performing professionally since childhood, Newton's early fame came long before the era of tabloids and social media scrutiny, when his youthful look and pinch-perfect cheekbones made him an A-list attraction in the heyday of the Vegas showroom circuit. In recent years, however, his appearance has ignited widespread discussion online about the impact of cosmetic procedures on his face, though it's important to emphasize that Newton himself has never publicly confirmed undergoing plastic surgery. What we do know is that his appearance today shows notable differences from his younger years, especially compared with photos from the 1960s and 1970s, when his features were smoother and more naturally contoured. This transformation is often cited in discussions of cosmetic surgery trends among aging entertainers. Many online profiles and cosmetic surgery-focused articles list procedures such as facelifts, eyelid surgery, rhinoplasty, Botox, and neck lifts as the most common explanations for Newton's more taut and less expression-rich appearance in recent decades, especially as fans revisit his performances on shows like The Bachelorette and Dancing with the Stars, where his face appeared unusually smooth and static under studio lighting. Medical commentary on his look tends to focus on features like arched brows that sit unusually high and an absence of typical age-related sagging, both of which are hallmarks of surgical intervention, as well as the way his skin texture reflects a reduction in natural lines that aging usually brings. However, it is crucial to note that this remains speculation based on appearance, not confirmed statements from Newton or his representatives. Justin Jedlicka's plastic surgery obsession. Justin Jedlicka isn't just a name, he's one of the most documented examples of radical cosmetic transformation in modern history, earning global notoriety as the human Ken doll. Born August 11, 1980 in Poughkeepsie, New York, Jedlicka's fascination with altering his appearance began in his teens. He researched rhinoplasty at 17 and underwent his first nose surgery just 4 days after turning 18, a decision he made independently after his parents refused consent. What sets Jedlicka apart from most cosmetic patients is not just the number of procedures, but the intention and aesthetic-driven nature of his body modification journey. Over more than 2 decades, he spent well over $1 million on surgical and non-surgical enhancements and estimates he has undergone hundreds, with some outlets reporting up to 780 procedures, including rhinoplasties, cheek and chin augmentations, brow lifts, lip augmentations, and extensive implants on his chest, shoulders, and other body areas. Jedlicka's approach to cosmetic surgery has always been framed as creative self-expression rather than mere vanity. Early on, he studied art, sculpting, and the human form, and viewed his body as a living canvas, a philosophy that informed his repeated procedures. In interviews, he's often described surgery as cathartic and a way to customize his features to his own ideal aesthetic, likening himself to a sculptor shaping marble. Though Jedlicka gained early mainstream exposure through television, including appearances on the reality show Botched and TLC's My Strange Addiction, in recent years he's evolved into a cosmetic surgery consultant and creative director in the aesthetics industry, even designing bespoke implants for clients and working closely with surgeons. Videos as recent as 2024 show him advising on procedures and reflecting on how his journey intersects with broader trends in body modification and beauty culture. Patrick Dempsey's shocking transformation. Patrick Dempsey's face and career have been scrutinized by the public for decades, not only due to his portrayal of Dr. Derek Shepherd, aka McDreamy, on Grey's Anatomy, but also due to subtle changes in his features that fans have been debating for years. Dempsey's been linked to a rhinoplasty procedure, and there's credible evidence suggesting this wasn't purely cosmetic. When he was younger, he broke his nose multiple times, including during a hockey match, and underwent corrective surgery that helped with both function and appearance. That procedure, performed early in his career, likely refined the bridge and tip of his nose, giving it a narrower, more symmetrical look than what appears in his pre-Grey Anatomy's era photos. This factor is a well-reported aspect of his transformation and is widely cited in plastic surgery discussions about his appearance. Importantly, Dempsey himself has acknowledged that his rhinoplasty was necessary to fix structural issues caused by injury, making this distinct from routine cosmetic work undertaken solely for aesthetics. Many celebrity nose jobs, particularly for actors, are undertaken for functional reasons such as correcting a deviated septum or restoring airflow, and often end up influencing the actor's overall look in subtle ways, as seems to be the case here. Beyond his nose, Dempsey's appearance, as he's aged, has often been attributed to a combination of favorable genetics, a healthy lifestyle, and perhaps minor preventive measures like Botox rather than dramatic cosmetic surgeries. In interviews and media coverage, including reflecting on his workouts and diet at age 58, Dempsey has spoken openly about staying in shape and accepting the natural aging process, noting that maintaining one's body and face requires consistent effort as time goes on. Michael Jackson's shocking face transformation. Michael Jackson's facial transformation remains one of the most documented and discussed topics in pop culture history, not because it was subtle or hidden, but because it was radically visible and unfolded in front of an audience of millions. Born in 1958, Jackson's natural features during his early Jackson 5 days include a wide nose, fuller cheeks, and deep brown skin. But by the time of his 2009 passing, his facial structure had undergone such a dramatic change that many questioned whether it was even the same person underneath. Jackson himself acknowledged only a few procedures during interviews, notably with Oprah in 1993, where he admitted to 2 rhinoplasties and a chin cleft. However, most medical professionals and plastic surgery experts believe the actual number was far higher. Over the years, his nose grew progressively thinner and more upturned, to the point where cartilage collapse was evident, a condition known as nasal tip necrosis. Some reports suggest he underwent at least 5 to 10 nose surgeries, possibly more, resulting in the use of cartilage grafts and prosthetics later in life. Jackson's skin color also became significantly lighter over time, fueling speculation. But contrary to rumor, this transformation was not purely cosmetic. He was diagnosed with vitiligo, an autoimmune condition that destroys pigment-producing cells, as confirmed in his autopsy report. To even out his skin tone, Jackson reportedly used depigmentation treatments such as monobenzone, which resulted in the pale appearance that became part of his final look. Other changes included cheek implants, eyelid surgeries, and possible forehead lifts. According to numerous plastic surgeons who studied his case through photo evidence, Jackson's obsession with appearance has been tied to childhood trauma, including constant ridicule from his father and a deep psychological need for reinvention. His transformation wasn't just physical but symbolic. He was crafting a persona that transcended race, gender, and identity. Rzeznik's shocking transformation. John Rzeznik, the gravel-voiced frontman whose songwriting propelled the Goo Goo Dolls from Buffalo basement gigs to global arenas, has been a feature of alternative rock since the late 1980s. The band's breakout album, Dizzy Up the Girl, in 1998, spun off ubiquitous hits like Iris, Slide, and Black Balloon, firmly etching Rzeznik's face and voice into the soundtrack of a generation. In 2025, at age 59, he's still touring and releasing new material with the band, which marks nearly 4 decades of collaborative longevity and renewed mainstream interest thanks to his signature tunes appearing in films like Deadpool and Wolverine. Visually, fans have noticed that Rzeznik today looks notably different compared with his 1990s rock star-era photos: smoother skin, a more taut jawline, and facial features that seem refined beyond what many would expect from natural aging alone. These observations have sparked widespread online speculation about cosmetic procedures, particularly facelifts, Botox, or dermal fillers. Some plastic surgery rumor sites list these as possibilities, and speculation about a refined jaw or smoother forehead circulates in fan forums and celebrity beauty blogs. However, and this is crucial, Rzeznik has never publicly confirmed any cosmetic surgeries or injections. Comments about surgical work come from third-party blog speculation or fan commentary, not from Rzeznik himself or his representatives. Without a statement from him, claims are simply unverified interpretations of differences seen in promotional photos, TV appearances, or concert footage, and could easily be influenced by factors like lighting, weight changes, skincare routines, facial hairstyling, or even photographic angles. Kenny Rogers' shocking transformation. Kenny Rogers, the beloved country music legend whose voice defined classics like The Gambler and Islands in the Stream, became almost as famous for his changing appearance as he was for a string of chart-topping hits. Rogers openly admitted he underwent cosmetic surgery in the late 1990s and early 2000s, and he spoke about it candidly in interviews, including a 2012 appearance on CBS This Morning, where he said he regretted trying to hide himself through surgery and wondered aloud what he would have looked like if he hadn't done it. The most widely noted procedures in his transformation were eyelid surgery and a brow lift, aimed at reducing sagging eyelids and revitalizing his look as he aged. Medical commentary and plastic surgery analysis suggest that excessive removal of skin and fat around the eyes, combined with an aggressively lifted brow, left his upper face appearing tighter and less natural over time, a change that fans and commentators often contrasted with his earlier, more relaxed expressions in the 1970s and 1980s. Rogers himself expressed mixed feelings about the results. Though he sought the procedures to look younger and preserve his public image, he later described dissatisfaction with how the changes affected his look, particularly around the eye region, even telling interviewers he was not happy with certain results. Critics and commentators have used Rogers' experience as a cautionary note in discussions about male cosmetic surgery, stressing how surgical changes that exceed the natural balance of facial anatomy can produce unintended effects, especially in an era when celebrity images are endlessly replayed and scrutinized online. The actor Kenny Rogers died in March 2020. Carrot Top's shocking transformation. Scott Thompson, known worldwide as Carrot Top, built his comedy career on wild props and redheaded energy, headlining Vegas residences at Luxor since 2005 after TV spots on Chris Angel Mindfreak and Larry the Cable Guy's Christmas Spectacular. In the 1990s, his face featured natural laugh lines, softer cheeks, and expressive brows that matched his manic stage persona. By the 2020s, fans noticed dramatic changes: high Spock brows, an unnaturally smooth forehead, fuller angular cheeks, and a taut jawline that appears immobile under stage lights. Plastic surgery experts analyzing side-by-side photos attribute this to multiple brow lifts, creating a permanent arch, Botox, creating frozen expressions, and cheek implants or fillers, volume restoration, and possible facelifts, creating a mask-like effect critics call a Botox disaster. The transformation sparked endless Reddit threads and YouTube analyses labeling him unrecognizable. Carrot Top denies surgery, joking in interviews, "If I'd had work done, I'd look better." He credits skincare, diet, and genetics while embracing the buzz as part of his outrageous brand. At 59 years old, born February 6, 1965, he continues to sell out shows at the Luxor through 2025, demonstrating that his appearance attracts ticket sales. Medical consensus warns that cumulative injectables erode natural movement over decades. Gary Busey's shocking transformation. Gary Busey is one of Hollywood's most unforgettable character actors, a man whose unpredictable energy lit up films like The Buddy Holly Story in 1978 and Lethal Weapon in 1987, and made him a perennial topic of fascination for decades. But many fans today talk about his transformation isn't rooted in elective cosmetic surgery. It stems from one of the most dramatic life events an entertainer can endure, a near-fatal motorcycle accident that fundamentally altered his face, brain, and career trajectory. On December 4, 1988, Busey was riding his Harley-Davidson without a helmet in Los Angeles when he lost control and crashed. The impact fractured his skull, caused severe traumatic brain injury, and left him in critical condition. He required emergency neurosurgery at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center and spent time in a coma. Doctors had to reconstruct parts of his skull and facial structure to save his life, a process that wasn't cosmetic in nature but medical and reconstructive. That surgery and the trauma that preceded it had long-lasting effects on his facial features, speech patterns, and expressions. In the years since the accident, Busey has openly discussed how the injury changed him. Beyond visible differences in his jawline, cheek structure, and overall facial symmetry, the brain injury itself altered his muscle control and memory, factors that subtly influence appearance and mannerisms over time. His unique look today is as much the result of survival and recovery as it is of any surgical intervention. Steven Tyler's shocking transformation. Steven Tyler, the flamboyant frontman of Aerosmith, is one of rock's most recognizable and enduring performers. His gravel and whiskey vocals and eccentric stage presence helped define Walk This Way, Dream On, and countless other classic tracks. Unlike many celebrities whose identity in the public eye is tied to a specific cosmetic choice, Tyler's physical transformation over the decades isn't primarily rooted in elective plastic surgery, but rather in the intersection of aging, lifestyle, accidents, public speculation, and resilience under intense scrutiny. Born in 1948, Tyler's look in the 1970s featured a lean, angular face framed by long, dark hair and striking features that fit the archetype of a hard-living rock star. By the 2010s and into 2025, his face appears markedly different, softer skin texture in some areas, deeper lines in others, and an overall appearance that fans sometimes describe as refined or even unexpectedly modern for someone of his era. Yet there's no definitive, publicly confirmed statement from Tyler that he underwent standard cosmetic surgery to alter his facial structure. Many discussions of his appearance online mix glamour industry speculation with natural aging patterns. Tyler himself has been private about any such elective procedures. One documented incident that did involve surgical intervention occurred in 2011 when Tyler slipped in a shower while on tour in Paraguay. He told Today that after the fall, doctors stitched up my eye. They did a little plastic surgery and they fixed my tooth all in one fell swoop, though he didn't specify exactly what procedures were done. That moment is often cited as a rare instance where medical necessity and cosmetic outcome coexisted, but it wasn't presented by Tyler as a choice made for aesthetic reasons. Barry Manilow's shocking transformation. Barry Manilow's name is synonymous with timeless ballads like Mandy, Copacabana at the Copa, and Can't Smile Without You. But over the past few decades, his physical appearance has increasingly become a topic of public curiosity, not because he confirmed elective cosmetic surgery, but because his face today looks markedly smoother and touter than what we would expect purely from natural aging. Born in 1943, Manilow's career has spanned more than half a century, and while he has never publicly admitted to specific cosmetic procedures, longtime observers and aesthetic commentators have pointed to visual differences over time that align with common cosmetic interventions. These include a notably tight jawline and nearly wrinkle-free forehead in recent years, features that are often associated with facelifts, eyelid surgery, injectables like Botox, and potential dermal fillers, though none of these have been confirmed medically or by Manilow himself. Speculation around Manilow's transformation isn't new. Enthusiasts in the plastic surgery community have suggested his appearance changes could result from one or more facelifts and eyelid lifts as well as regular Botox use to minimize lines. His eye area's firmness and lack of natural creasing for a man of his age often fuel that interpretation. What adds complexity to the conversation is that Manilow has, on occasion, addressed rumors in a lighthearted way, most famously during a 2014 appearance on The Jonathan Ross Show, where he denied having extensive surgical work done and quipped about aging naturally, highlighting that discussions about his looks had become part of pop culture chatter. In comparing then versus now images, what stands out is not a dramatic distortion, but rather than an appearance that seems preserved compared to peers of his generation. His tighter facial contours contrast sharply with the typical sagging or deep wrinkling seen in many men in their 80s. Even if cosmetic procedures were involved, the effect has been a subtle smoothing and lift rather than an extreme overhaul. Visual analysts also note that lighting, makeup, skincare routines, and media styling can significantly influence how aging appears in high-resolution modern photography versus older film and television footage, complicating definitive claims. Paul Stanley's shocking transformation. Paul Stanley, born Stanley Harvey Eisen on January 20, 1952, is best known as the charismatic co-lead singer and rhythm guitarist of the legendary rock band Kiss, whose theatrical makeup and star child persona helped define the look of arena rock in the 1970s and beyond. While many fans focus on his music or stage theatrics, another part of Stanley's life story, his physical transformation, is deeply rooted in medical necessity and personal resilience, not elective cosmetic vanity. What makes Stanley's case uniquely compelling is the reconstructive surgery he underwent decades before celebrity plastic surgery became mainstream, and how it shaped both his identity and public appearance over time. Stanley was born with a congenital deformity called microtia on his right side, meaning his external ear was underdeveloped, a condition that also left him partially deaf on that side. Growing up with a physical difference subjected him to ridicule, and in his memoir and recent interviews, he's spoken about how that early experience influenced his confidence and drive to perform. In 1982, at age 30, he underwent a reconstructive ear surgery that used cartilage harvested from his rib to form a new external ear, a painstaking process involving multiple procedures to create a more typical ear structure. He's described the surgery as giving him a new lease on life, even presenting his surgeon with a Rolex in gratitude after the operation. This reconstructive work is the most documented and confirmed surgical transformation in Stanley's life. Unlike elective cosmetic surgery done to achieve a certain aesthetic, his ear reconstruction was fundamentally functional and identity-shaping, helping correct a congenital condition that affected both hearing and self-image. While fan forums and speculation threads online occasionally claim additional cosmetic procedures such as facelifts, brow lifts, rhinoplasty, or lip augmentation, these remain unverified and anecdotal, not confirmed by Stanley himself or credible sources. Elton John's shocking transformation. Sir Elton John is one of the most enduring icons in music history, a flamboyant pianist and singer whose kaleidoscope of hits from Your Song to Goodbye Yellow Brick Road made him a global superstar. But beyond his musical legacy, Elton's physical transformation over the decades, especially when viewed through the lens of then versus now, tells a story that's not just about image, but about health, aging, adaptation, and resilience. From his early days in the 1970s, Elton struggled with male pattern baldness, something he discussed openly in his 2019 autobiography, Me. He revealed that he underwent 2 hair transplant surgeries, both of which ultimately failed to produce the results he hoped for, a rare, candid acknowledgement from a superstar about cosmetic hair restoration. The procedures involved early forms of strip harvesting, and despite the promise of fuller hair, Elton later turned to custom wigs and hair pieces as a more effective way to manage his look on stage and in public. This journey underscores how cosmetic outcomes aren't always straightforward, even when a celebrity admits to procedures. The results may not match expectations. Elton's honest reflections on his hair transplants, including the pain, the setbacks, and the learning curve, humanize a topic that is too often shrouded in secrecy. Over time, wigs became part of his trademark style, so much so that fans now associate his expressive performances with iconic headwear just as much as with piano solos. Igor Bogdanoff's eccentric look shaped by fame. Igor Bogdanoff, one half of the famously enigmatic French twin duo Igor and Rzeznik Bogdanoff, became an international curiosity not just for his mind-bending ideas about cosmology and time, but also for the radical transformation of his face. Though not traditionally a Hollywood actor, Igor's cultural impact stretched far beyond French television. In fact, his evolving appearance became so iconic that it birthed countless memes, conspiracy theories, and even cryptocurrency lore. But behind the exaggerated features was a deeper and very real story of fame, identity, and transformation. In the 1980s, Igor and Rzeznik were considered heartthrobs in France, hosting sci-fi themed shows like Temps X with youthful, angular good looks and slick charisma. But beginning in the 1990s and escalating into the 2000s, both brothers began altering their appearances in increasingly dramatic ways. Prominent cheekbones, exaggerated chins, and stretched skin soon replaced their once boyish faces, though they always denied having undergone plastic surgery, insisting instead that their look was the result of technological advancement or an internal cellular process. Most experts and observers believe otherwise. Cosmetic surgeons and media analysts, including interviews published, attributed their appearance to overuse of fillers, implants, and potential reconstructive surgery. Igor's face became a symbol, not just of body modification, but of the blurred lines between science fiction and identity. He embraced the attention, often appearing in surreal interviews and fashion campaigns, unapologetically otherworldly. Tragically, Igor passed away in January 2022 at age 72, just 6 days after his brother Rzeznik, both reportedly from COVID-19 complications. As of 2025, Igor's legacy is strangely immortal. His face, as unique as his theories on the Big Bang, has become a fixture in internet culture. It's not conventionally handsome, but undeniably iconic, a testament to a life lived defiantly outside the norm, where appearance was less about vanity and more about becoming a living symbol of something larger: mystery, intellect, and spectacle. Howard Stern's shocking transformation. Howard Stern isn't just a radio legend, he's a media force whose name has been synonymous with boundary-pushing talk formats, best-selling books like Private Parts, and decades of candid on-air storytelling. But amid all that, one of the more intriguing, less publicized aspects of Stern's life has been his physical transformation, which blends personal choice, professional necessity, and a rare moment of openness in celebrity culture about cosmetic work. Stern, born January 12, 1954, has been open in the past about having undergone a rhinoplasty to address a prominent nasal hump and liposuction under his chin, both of which he discussed with humor and honesty on The Howard Stern Show, a rarity for male celebrities of his generation. During a 2006 segment on his own show, Stern recounted that the nose surgery took place shortly after filming Private Parts in 1997, a project that itself was intensely personal and autobiographical, and that he also had liposuction beneath his chin at the same time, wrapped so tightly afterward that he joked he looked like a mummy. His candidness about painful recovery and vowing never again reflects how he approached these choices not as vanity, but as personal decisions that even he found conflicted. What makes Stern's transformation notable isn't dramatic Hollywood-style reinvention, but the way he mixed self-reflection with public vulnerability. Only his sister noticed the initial change in his nose. Stern said, yet these procedures, subtle to most observers, likely contributed to a smoother nasal profile and a trimmer chin area when compared to much older images from the 1980s and early 1990s. If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon